All right, welcome everyone to another edition of Deconversion Stories. I know it's been a while since we've had a show, but I was on vacation, starting with a little trip out to Deconversion Stories. I know it's been a while since we've had a show, but I was on vacation, starting with a little trip.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, sorry, we're hearing it come through your end, Emma. So whatever you have open that has the show, you should close that and just have this one screen open. But anyways, yeah, so we were out in Calgary, Alberta for the Western Canadian Reason Convention, and of course, Mr. Aaron Raw and Seth Anders were there. Anyways, yeah, so we were out in Calgary, Alberta. So, and my friend Courtney Hurd was there, and Jenna Selby, who runs the Center of Religious Trauma, or Conference of Religious Trauma, sorry. And we had a great time there, and then we went to Drumheller, where the dinosaurs are, and we went through the Royal Tyrrell Museum there, which has all the fossils and the cool little displays and stuff like that. And Arn and I did a little video in there. If you've missed that, you can check it out. It is on my channel there under specials in the specials tab there, and you can check that out. It was a lot of fun to do. And yeah, and here we are back in action today. It is the 13th of May, Saturday the 13th, which isn't the same as Friday the 13th, obviously. But
it's even worse than Friday the 13th.
We have our guest is Miss Emmy Vance with us here. Yeah, so Emma, we have our guest is Miss Emmy.
So yeah, that echo is coming from you, Emmy. Do you have the stream open? Do you have the stream open somewhere? Because it's like a delay of our own words. All right, let's see if you fixed it. Do you have the stream open? Yeah, you have the stream open.
Give me a minute. I'll be back.
Okay.
You just have to close off that window. That's all you got to do.
Yeah. Because it's playing through your speakers, and then we can hear that.
Terrible at everything.
I think you did it.
Yeah, I think you got it because I don't hear us. Yay!
Praise gay baby Jesus. It's all good.
You did it.
Actually, should have been blaming it on baby Jesus. All his fault.
Yeah.
There's a TV show.
What?
There's a TV series too.
Of Wolf Creek.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you're going to be so busy tonight.
Oh man, I got a lot to watch. Fire up that VPN, baby. We're going to Australia.
Do it.
For context, folks, we were talking about this Wolf Creek movies and now a TV show, apparently. So, yeah. Anyways, welcome to the show, Emma. Great to have you here with us.
Thank you so much.
Now, it is Sunday in Australia, so technically it's Mother's Day. So Emma said she'll stick around for the interview and pop in for a little bit of the after party, but it's time to pay, our respects and honors to moms everywhere. Canadian Ollingman's here. Secular Dave, Derek is here. Lots of folks here already. But I mean, what we do here is Mikey and I like to chat with folks about how they found their way free from whatever belief systems they were once involved in. And I know that you're an ex Jehovah's Witness.
Correct.
And one of the ones like Mormonism and Scientology that I consider to be actually quite cultish, although I consider literally any religion to be a cult of sorts.
Some are just more culty than others, apparently.
Yeah. I mean, if they fall under the BITE model, they're definitely a cult, and that's behavioral control, intellect control, thought control, and emotional control. And pretty much all religions do that to some degree, some worse than others. So why don't you kind of take us into the days of being involved with the Jehovah's Witnesses and sort of what happened to trigger you to sort of say, I don't know about any of this. And then as those dominoes fell, you find your way free.
Well, it actually is. Well, it's interesting to me. I hope it's interesting to other people too. I was born into it, third generation, in the sense that my grandparents on both sides, except my maternal grandfather, all became witnesses when my parents were children. And I was thinking about it last night, actually, how my one grandfather that didn't become a witness had quite a good, normal life, very much a scientific-minded person. Yet my other 3 grandparents all come from very traumatic upbringings. My paternal grandmother was a Holocaust survivor.
Wow.
My grandfather was born from the Great Depression in Birmingham, England, born into a family of organised crime. Yeah, I think
Your
and
genealogy report was just a rap sheet of who's who.
Oh my God. And my maternal grandmother also, come from trauma. She was abandoned as a baby, and when her adoptive parents passed away, she was a teenager and ended up on the streets. So these are all people that have had really difficult lives, and witnesses found them, and that's how you become a witness. You either have to come from trauma or be born into it, basically. That's the recruiting system. So
I guess they reached out, I guess, and said, listen, we can
they just
help,
would have been found out in the door knocking stuff. That's how they are. And a lot of people kind of back in the 60s came in that way, because there was a big 1975 was the year marked for Armageddon, the end of this wicked system and the beginning of the new great perfect. Oh my God, it's so yeah. Which they all deny even happen now.
Any day now.
So I was born into that, and my father was either an elder or the next step down, a ministerial servant, through his whole time, pretty much, as a witness. He's still an elder now. So I wasn't the best witness because it's really hard going witnessing. Like,
what do you mean by that? Like,
going door to door, I cannot tell you how much that sucks. Going to someone's door and telling them in the nicest way possible that if they don't believe in my God, they're all going to fucking die. Like, it's terrible.
Don't pull any punches.
Well, you got to word it in a way that it's really nice and kind. And then when they get in, I never even had any interest at all. I must have been terrible at it. They probably just saw this poor girl standing at my door with her knees knocking. Terrible. I just used to pray. How bad is this? I used to pray that every householder would say, sorry, I'm not interested, so I wouldn't have to talk to them.
Like, oh, no. I didn't mean to ask you a follow-up question. Don't cry. Oh.
Yeah.
Wait. You prayed so that they would say no? I mean,
I know. How bad is that? Like, I was praying for their destruction, basically. I'm thinking, well, God can read hearts. He'll figure it out if I can't. But I definitely believed it, because even though I went to mainstream school and I worked out in the world, it's still an extremely insular cult. They really have you believing that looking outside of their belief system, any literature, anything outside of the church, will literally kill you. So that's how they get people to not investigate. So whenever I had doubts, and I think every witness has doubts at some point or the other.
Oh, I'm sure.
Whenever I had doubts, I just
found
a way to excuse it away. Like, Jehovah knows, I don't understand it. He knows. He'll figure it out. It'll be fair. It'll be good. All that stuff. So that's how I kind of excused my way out of addressing my doubts. But 6 years ago, my youngest son, who was 10 at the time, he's autistic. And
what the hell am I doing?
I don't know. That was fun.
I'm fucking with buttons, but I think I was trying to type something and it all screwed up.
You're not much better than me, Neil.
I've done that from time to time. It happens. Look at Mikey just shaking his head like, oh.
Got to keep it fresh.
Roaring start.
So my little autistic son at the time, we were coming home from a convention. I'm not sure how much you know about, the whole Jehovah's Witness stuff, but every year there's this 3-day convention that is mandatory. You all have to, if you don't go, you'll be flagged and the elders will be visiting you. So you got to go. And it was always so hard for him with his autism, being around so many people and the noises and the smells and everything. And I tried to accommodate him as best I could. And anyway, we're leaving this convention. This is about 6 years ago. And I said, well done, Jonathan. I'm so proud of you. You did really good. I know it's hard. And he says, Mum, why do we even have to do this? This is coming out of the driveway of the convention centre. And my husband turns around and he says, we do this because we love Jehovah and we want to live in the new system, after Armageddon. And my son is a very deep thinker.
Do they have Kmart's there?
Well, at the time he was attending a special needs school, and his best friend was this beautiful little boy with autism as well and a mild intellectual disability. Sweetest, gentlest kid I've ever known. And Jonathan turns around and says, does that mean Jehovah's going to kill Noah? His best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And it just flicked a switch in my brain, excuse me, that I could not switch off. And I couldn't answer him in that moment because I thought, it was the first time I'd kind of put a real face to the people who are supposedly going to die at Armageddon. Before, they never talk about that stuff in the literature. They just say, all the bad people are going to be gone. You don't think about the little babies and the people who are innocent, who can't understand God,
Yep. Don't have the capacity to understand it.
Out of the mouths of babes.
Yeah, definitely. So, this little kid, 10 years old, was the person who woke me up. And, I tell him all the time, how grateful I am for that. And he really hangs it on me too. He's like, Mom, if it wasn't for me, you used to be bloody Joho, Like, he's so cool. So that was the thing that woke me up. I didn't do anything about it at that time. I didn't even tell my husband that caused doubts for about a year. What do you got to do? You got to have a drink or something now, do you?
Yes.
Do it.
I have cranberry juice.
I have coffee and water.
I have water myself. So
but it's 10 o'clock
in the morning. Lamos here.
We're so square. We used to really have an edge.
Dr. Ben's going to be mad at me because I snuck a few beers at the conference on the weekend. So
I did a little quick Googling, and abs.gov.au, your religion top 20 breakdown. In 2011, it was Catholic 25.3, no religion 22.3. Now, 2016, that's the last numbers they have. No religion is the highest category with 30.1, and then Catholic is 22.6. And I was wondering because almost all of my friends in Australia are Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm like, there must be a ton of Jehovah's Witnesses down there. 0.4%.
Yeah, they're just the most vocal, it seems.
I have only found the Jehovah's Witnesses in Australia to be friends with, because that's 80% of my friend group down there is.
It's just because we're so friendly, Mikey.
Maybe that's what
you come knocking on the door and shit.
Even meeting on video games, all the Australians I mean, I'm always real cool with them. I'm like, damn, another Australian. You Mormon? No, you Jehovah's Witness? Yeah, I knew it. Every one of you.
Yeah, we are a little bit. I mean, I don't like saying we anymore, but you are definitely different from the rest of the community. That's for sure. Yeah. So with that spark of doubt, I kept it to myself, because in marriages in the religion often don't survive when one person stops believing. So even though our marriage was very good, you don't know how your partner's going to react until you actually tell them. So I didn't tell my husband for about a year. And I went to him. Yeah, I didn't tell anyone. And I just went to him one night. I couldn't keep it in anymore. And I said, I am so, sobbing. I'm so sorry to tell you this, but I don't believe it's the truth anymore. And the truth is like the colloquial in-house word that witnesses use. We don't to each other. You don't say, oh, are you a Jehovah's Witness? You say, oh, is he in the truth? like, so that's the word. Not the truth. Don't believe it. And he reacted really well to that. And he said, look, obviously I'm sad, but you're an adult and I still love you and we'll figure it out. And so I just kind of became inactive. I stopped going to the meetings. I stopped making Jonathan go to the meetings as well, because he really struggled. It was so hard for him. So I had a legitimate excuse to not go. So I didn't really have to tell anyone, what was happening in my mind. And then I kind of stayed like that for 4 years. And then something else clicked in my mind and I went, I need to know for sure if this is true or not. And that's when I started researching. But just within the JW literature, I was too scared to go and Google something, And everything that I'm reading the Bible and reading the literature, none of it was adding up. And I made the stupid decision to call the elders in the congregation and say, hey, I'm having a crisis of faith here. I need help. And so they came around quite quickly, and they came to our house. They came over, and I was sobbing to them, like, seriously, I do not know if this is the truth or not. Please help me, give me information, tell me what to do, and I'll do it, basically.
Sure.
And their advice was
pray harder.
That keep doing research. That's good. That's fine. And try some diet and exercise to make you feel better.
When they said keep doing research, were they kind of implying to do research that would be beneficial to you staying, or were they saying do research that might possibly take you away?
Yeah, no, it was definitely in line of, keep reading the Bible, keep reading the publications from Watchtower, and you'll find your answers. Yeah. Don't get hung up on these little, things. And I said, well, the things that the thing that I really need to know is who's going to survive Armageddon. I need to know if the eternal future of my children is at stake. What's going to happen to them, basically. I don't care what happens to me. I just need to know my kids are going to be okay.
You mean, are they part of the 144,000? Is that what you're
Well, that's something different. The 144,000 are people that go to heaven when they die. They're specially anointed. There's no proof that they're anointed. It's just a feeling that they get. They know they're anointed. But the rest of us mere mortals get to live on paradise earth forever. So earth will be preserved and turned into a globe of paradise, and there'll be no more sickness and nobody will die and everything's going to be beautiful. Right. So this is what I grew up with. So we had what we call the earthly hope. So I wasn't going to heaven. I knew that. We're going to live on earth. So I needed to make sure my kids were going to be there. And I said, so what's the criteria? Because I couldn't find anything that was just black and white. Yes, if you do this, you're going to survive. There was nothing like that. It was all so ambiguous. And so, don't get hung up on these little things. And I thought, no, this is actually a really, really big thing. And I cannot let it go. I need an answer. And eventually I did find it. And by then my faith was finished. I was done. It took me a year of just reading, watching videos. Eventually I got brave and, shakingly went and Googled something, is Jehovah's Witnesses a cult? And wow, then it all just came unraveling very, very quickly. And so my mum had actually left my father and the church nearly 30 years prior. And I had very limited relationship with her because she had left. She was an apostate. So, and much to my shame, I didn't totally shun her, but I definitely kept a very big distance, a big gap between us. So that was always something that played on my conscience as well. So when I figured out, okay, this is no good anymore, my next job was to try and convince my husband, because I thought, I don't want him dealing with this bloody bullshit for the rest of his life. I want him to see, like, I want to have a happy marriage where we're both happy and free and, you know,
of course.
enjoying each other. And it took him a year to see it. But when he did see it, I'm not sure if you guys know about it. There's a documentary, like a news kind of show in Australia called Four Corners. And they're a very reputable, you know, news kind of thing. They do really, really good research. And anyway, there was an episode coming out about Jehovah's Witnesses. And I couldn't get my husband to kind of look at anything apostate. But in this particular episode was an elder that we actually knew who had left, an elder that we really liked, really respected, you know, very nice man. And I said, you know, this brother is going to be on this episode, and that piqued his interest. He thought, well, I actually like this man. Let me see, you know, what he has to say. And he watched that episode. As soon as he ended, he said, oh, shit, we're in a cult. And so that's when he ended with the thing. And that was seriously the happiest day of my life. I thought, okay, we're going to be fine. I'm not going to lose my husband. My family's not going to be split up. My kids are out with me. My husband's out with me. We're going to be okay. And then once he had found that space, then I found these layers peeling off me, just one at a time. And then after my husband, you know, left, I had this thought, oh, shit, I need to call my mum. And by this time, I have 3 sisters. They're all in it. My father is still an elder. I don't talk to him, but my sisters stopped associating with me from that moment as soon as I told them.
That's part of it all.
Which is the standard. I do not begrudge them at all. I've done it to other people. Ashamed as I am of that, they're just doing what they're programmed to do. But I miss them. Like, it still really hurts like hell, you know. So my thing was, I got to call my mum, but I didn't have her phone number. So she lives in the next town. She's like 10 minutes away from me. So she just happened to message me out of the blue, like the next day, and said, oh, I hope you're okay, whatever. And I said, oh, come over. And so the next day she came over just really quietly. And she walked in the door, and straight away I just said, Mum, we've left the church. And her knees buckled under her. We just had the biggest cry and hug. And, you know, that's been just over a year and a half. And we have this amazing relationship now, you know. Like, I didn't have a mum from the time I was 18 till the time I was 45. So I went through marriage, having children, you know, all the shit that life throws at you with no mum, because I wasn't allowed to have a mum, you know. Like,
she was already out, right? So
yeah.
Oh, a little bit of a freeze up there.
They you know, hold it against you.
Yeah.
If you leave, you're at risk of losing everything, the whole community you've ever known, that you've ever been allowed to know. So she stuck with it as long as she could, and she got to a point in her mid-40s where she couldn't pretend anymore. And I absolutely do not blame her for that at all.
I got a couple of comments here from the comment section that I want to highlight here. Both of them are from my friend Aunt Jur. Aunt Jur says, I guess this is from something you said earlier. Diet and exercise won't be bothered, you won't be bothered with thinking too much. Is this like the 1800s? Typical hysterical woman needs to stop thinking so much and go do something mindless.
Oh, absolutely absolutely that. I have a few chronic health conditions that have stemmed from childhood abuse, and I'm on some medication for that, to manage that. And when the elders came to see us, they actually separated Greg and I. I didn't think about it until later, but one of them kind of blocked me in the lounge room where we had been talking, and the other one took Greg outside. And I thought, oh, that's a bit kind of weird. And then Greg told me later, this elder asked Greg, my husband, if he thought that my medications were making me have doubts. Right? So this is what we're dealing with. These men are assigned to comfort and console, you know, like a counseling service, basically. And this is the advice that they give. Like, no shade on them. Like, they're doing what they've been taught to do. They're just so underqualified for shepherding people because they have no idea on how to properly counsel people and comfort them. And they say really shitty things inadvertently.
Oh, they're science deniers too, so that doesn't help either.
Sorry, I missed that.
They're science deniers as well, so that doesn't help either.
That's exactly right. So within a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses, I've since learned, are on antidepressant medication and that kind of thing. But going to actually see a psychologist or, getting mental health from a professional is very much frowned upon. Even though I did it, I needed it. I wouldn't have survived without it, even when I was a witness. And I just didn't tell anyone. So like I said, I wasn't a very good witness. I believed it, but I wasn't very good at it because it's impossible. I've come to the conclusion now that no witnesses are good at it. They all just pretend, like we're all human. We all do stupid shit here and there. And I think if they were more honest about that kind of thing, it would be a lot easier to be in there.
Another one from Andrew. I'm not sure I even understand what's being asked here, but did she contact the producers of the show to tell them what an impact their show had on her life? I don't know what show she's referring to.
The Four Corners episode that was going to have that guy on it.
Oh, right.
No, I had nothing to do with that. It was actually an ex-Jehovah's Witness friend of mine who knows this particular, like they live in the same suburb. They're quite close. She messaged me and said, hey, so-and-so is going to be on Four Corners tonight. You should watch it. And it's funny because this particular friend, her and her husband were our best friends when we were witnesses. Like we loved them as much as if they were our flesh and blood. And about 10 or 11 years ago, they left the church and we pretty much shunned them. So that was my first, the night that I figured out it was bullshit, I messaged her and just hoped that she got the message on Facebook Messenger and said, I am so sorry. I've just figured it all out and we are turds and I hope you can see it in your heart to forgive us. And they've been amazing, just accepted us back. No, and it's just gone back to how it was,
because they understand why you had that position, why you did what they did, right? We've been very fortunate really because we have had some support network outside of the church, whereas most witnesses do not have that. And most witnesses in my situation leave without their spouse and without their children and have the prospect of never seeing their children again. That's crazy.
I am very, very lucky and I'm grateful every single day that I have my kids and my husband. I've got my mum. I've got a really great stepfather. And we have these beautiful friends and we're making friends too from people that know nothing about witnesses. And it's so strange to be around people who just accept you exactly how you are and you don't have to censor, yourself all the time.
Right.
It's amazing.
Right. Yeah, that is when you get something like that in your life, it's always good.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's always going to be situations where you might have to revert back to those sorts of ways of being. I mean, we all still have people in our lives that are under religious influence of some kind. So I mean, my sister is still quite religious, both of them really to some degree. And I have to sort of tailor how I speak about things a little bit, but
of course. Yeah.
I don't really pull a lot of punches. I'll say what's on my mind if I think it's fucking ridiculous, but and I just get some little looks like, you little bastard kind of thing, but whatever.
Speaking of accepting people as they are, Emmy, we need to get your forehead tattoo because you're an atheist now. So everybody line up. We're going to all get 666 on our forehead. So is your atheist life that you're living now, is it what you expected it to be?
Also, this question here, did you guys contact the producers that the show had a positive impact on your husband?
I did actually. I contacted the reporter on Twitter and told him that what he did, because it was such a well-produced episode. It wasn't like slanderous or anything like that, or sensational against Watchtower. It was just people telling their honest experiences. So it was really well made. And I contacted the reporter and thanked him. And yeah, he kind of reached out to me a little bit after that, which was really, really nice. But I mean, they need to know that they're saving people's lives by making the world aware. I don't believe that the world in general understands just how terrible the religion is, because, you know, you see witnesses out and about and they're dressed beautifully and they're really friendly and nice and well put together and all, and they give this image of kindness and love and all this stuff. And the people in it generally are very nice people, because most people in the world are very nice people now that I've met them. But they don't understand. Look, when I was a witness, I didn't understand that I was in a cult. I didn't understand that I was being a piece of shit when I tell someone who's lost a loved one. You know, I thought I was comforting them by saying, oh, God's going to resurrect them and you'll be able to live with them forever. And like, that's a terrible thing to say to somebody who's lost a loved one. You know, it's unimaginable to me now.
This is a good question, actually. My friend HR wanted to know, how do they handle kids that are not believers? Like, I'm imagining what she means is like if your kids in the belief system and they've lost their faith, but their parents are still in there, like, do the parents have to kick the kids out?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, they do. But the basic excuse me, the basic consensus, although it's not kind of written anywhere, but
sorry, I just had to curse there for a little bit because that's just unbelievable.
Well, you know, I always, my husband and I always kind of said, when our kids come along, we don't care what they do, we'll never shun them. If we get disfellowshipped and shunned for not shunning them, then that's what we'll do. Like, it's just, it was beyond my comprehension to ever do that. But the unwritten rule is, if your kids, if a person's not baptized and dedicated by the time they're about 16, then they're deemed, you know, outliers, bad association, whatever. I was baptized the day before I turned 14, and I'm expected to keep that commitment for the rest of my adult. Like, imagine holding a child to a lifelong commitment. You know, like you cannot get married at that time. You can't even have a tax file number at that time, you know, at that age. So, yeah, the general thing is, if they haven't been baptized and dedicated themselves to the organization by their late teens, you're probably going to have to kick them out, especially if they are doing worldly things like dating or, you know, if they have a smoke, if they drink, you know, anything. Like, the control is just so incredibly tight. And if you ask any Jehovah's Witness if they feel like they're being controlled, they'll say no. I would have said no. I would have said, that's ridiculous. I can do whatever I want. And I didn't realize how controlled I was until I left. And the first time that it kind of hit me is that I was shopping around Christmas time, and I went into this little jewelry shop and I saw these really cute little earrings with, you know, just stupid Christmas trees or something. And I thought, I could buy those if I want. And I can't do. I actually,
maybe I'll pick them up. Maybe I won't.
I wear a cross now. I'm not religious at all, right? I'm definitely an atheist, but I wear this cross because for two reasons. When I saw Madonna in the 80s wearing a cross, I'm like, that is cool. And I've always wanted one because Madonna is tits, right? And also, it's a very big middle finger to the church, because the Jehovah's Witnesses are very against any form of idolatry. Right. So crosses are idolatry. And I was actually always really drawn.
I would agree with that, actually.
Yes.
You got one right.
So,
I always said, Jesus, lucky he wasn't electrocuted in an electric chair. Imagine them wearing those things around their necks.
I know. That's not doesn't make a very pretty necklace, does it?
Or a noose or something.
Or a toilet.
Yeah.
Like Elvis.
On the toilet. I'll wear a toilet necklace. I don't care.
Some of them fried banana peanut butter sandwiches.
Yeah, so that's kind of my little, middle finger to the thing. Like I wear it because I can. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, if that's the reason why you're wearing it, then fucking wear it all the time.
Yeah, I did it a bit secretly in the beginning, but now because I think, oh, if I run into a witness, then they're going to think I'm terrible and that Satan's got me and all this stuff. And now I just think I don't even care if they
Satan's
think that
making you wear a cross.
Satan making you wear. Yeah. Yeah. One of my sisters actually said to me when I told her that I didn't believe it was the truth anymore, and told her that it was my little boy who, she said, Satan has driven a wedge in your heart. I just thought, he's 10 years old. Jesus, you're one here, lady. Yeah, but that's how they think. You've been influenced by Satan. That's it. You're gone. Oh, it's vampires. Yeah.
That's the answer I wanted to hear.
Well, you can't prove they don't exist, so let's do that.
I hate that fucking. You can't prove it doesn't. Yeah, no one's trying to prove something doesn't exist, but when you claim it does, you got to prove that it does.
The onus is on the person who is claiming that.
Making the positive claim,
isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, but you're making a negative claim, so that means it's a positive claim.
I'm way too dumb for this level of philosophical talk. You lost me.
I think you just rearranged all the marbles in my head with that one.
Yeah.
That's what
I've got two, and they're just going crazy in there.
It's like a spray paint can, just the one marble rattling around in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely. Well, there actually is some truth in that, because I'm finding I am learning how to think for myself for the first time in my life. And it seems crazy as a grown-ass woman, like I am learning how to rationalize, how to pick up bullshit, how to, read people, because I've never had to think for myself before.
Well, I think you mean think for yourself on this level, not to think for yourself on the level you were before, because you were still doing that, but it was with restrictions, and now those restrictions have been let go, and now you can think whatever you want now, and not feel bad about it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that your family members that are still involved don't really get much contact with you, or
no, they wouldn't even let me explain my reasons for leaving, because witnesses are so scared any influence is going to break their faith. Like, your faith must be pretty weak if you think that, really.
Right.
But
exactly.
They wouldn't let me even give my reasons, and so eventually I'm the type of person that I have to get it on the outside of my body. I have to say my piece. And so during COVID, witnesses were right into thank you, Theo. Witnesses are writing letters during COVID because they weren't allowed to go door knocking. So I thought, I will write a letter to the one sister who I thought would be the most receptive, because that's an acceptable way of communication, apparently. No, it did not go down well. And she actually contacted the elders, and we were called in. My husband and I were called. Well, my husband was called in because he's the head of the house. They didn't call me. They called my husband to say, we need to have a meeting. We need to have a meeting about your wife. So I thought, I'll go in, because at this stage, I was so terrified of being disfellowshipped, because there was still a few people who would talk to me, and I didn't want to lose those few people. So it
can be scary, right? So,
oh my God, like it's so lonely in the beginning. It is so lonely. So I thought, right, I'll do the right thing, because if you don't go, they'll just disfellowship you. So I thought, I'll go and explain myself. But I held my tongue the whole time. And I just said, look, I'm not out here trying to deconvert people or anything like that. I just wanted to explain my reasons. I thought that writing a letter would be an acceptable delivery system, since that's what witnesses do.
Hi, Steve.
And they said, we just need to make sure you're not a threat to the congregation. that was their thing. And my husband and I just looked at each other, and he actually said, because there's this elders manual that no one else is allowed to see, only elders allowed to see it. Women are not even allowed to touch it, right? Not allowed to touch it.
Or they will turn to stone.
Yeah, or a pillar of salt or something, right? So
you'll get Jesus cooties.
Smoten from the heavens.
So thanks to the great apostate work of fellow ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, this elders manual is available online. So I looked it up online and I read the whole thing, and I'm like, wow, this is some real bullshit here. And so when we're in this elders meeting, my husband says, we've read the manual. You can't tell us anything. Manual. I was so proud of him. It was great.
I found your secret book on Google.
Exactly. And they got very sheepish. And one of them actually said and it was a brother that I really respected in the past and genuinely loved. He said, you need to put your money where your mouth is and disassociate yourself, which is the same as disfellowshipping, but it's like volunteer disfellowshipping.
Right.
And I just said, that's not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. And if they ever, like, this interview could land me back in an elders meeting. Not that we haven't been back for a couple of years, but this if it gets out, they'll be after me. But wow. I've already got my big speech plan, so I kind of hope that they do, because they will walk out very different men than they walked in. I can guarantee you that. They haven't
if any of them
the wrath of Miss Emmy yet.
If any of them are watching, I'm sorry, but you're in a cult and you should probably get the fuck out too.
Yes.
Follow this lady's example and free yourself from the chains of oppression, because that's literally what you are in right now.
Yep.
Also, I have this here from my friend HR again, who, what do you think is the silliest thing that you ever couldn't do or got reprimanded for?
Stole my question, but good job, HR.
There's so many. Like,
you started.
I was never really a rule breaker as such, but it could be the color of your hair. It could be like having long fingernails. It could be you gave an answer at the meeting that didn't 100% line up. It might stumble somebody. It could literally be anything. Like, I don't know if you guys have heard of Wally Barnett. He's makes a lot of XJW content. He's a really great YouTuber. And, one of the things he said he got in trouble for was having coloured shoelaces when he was out witnessing instead of just black shoelaces. So it could be anything. I did end up in trouble when I was younger because, my husband and I, then boyfriend, got into consensual adult activities that we weren't supposed to. So, I was 23 for bucks, we're
old enough to know. It's good. It's good. It's all good.
So
we don't judge here.
Thank you. It's such a new feeling. I got in trouble for that, but they said, look, we won't disfellowship you as long as you don't tell anyone. And their advice to me, they didn't know him because he come from a congregation that was way out of our circuit. And he wasn't baptized either. So he was a bit of a rebel. And I was a rebel for dating someone who wasn't baptized. And they didn't know him at all. And their advice was, you've got to marry him. And now I just think he could have been any kind of monster. Like he could have been totally taking advantage of me. And this, it's called a judicial committee when you get in trouble for having sex or for anything. And the situation there was me, a young, extremely naive young woman, in a room with 3 older men, them asking me the most horrendously personal questions about, the sexual activity between me and my fiance. We were engaged.
My creepy meter just went off.
Taking notes, right? So there's a notebook somewhere with my name on it saying how many times I orgasmed during, like what? I am not. I will only tell you the truth. That was literally one of the questions.
Again, red flags all over the fucking place.
Yeah, they wouldn't let him. Yeah, no, they wouldn't let him come in. My, fiance come in with me. It was me on my own with these 3 old dudes, and it was. I actually spoke to my therapist about this, and she said that's sexual assault in itself.
I was just going to say exactly that. Like, by chance, did they record that?
Yeah. Okay. I have a file. I don't know where it is, but every witness has a file.
I have a file too, but it's with the police department.
A lot of local governments. Well, like a lot of local governments just like to know where Neil is.
On behalf of the rest of the Possibilities, welcome to the Flying Spaghetti Monster.
Yay!
I got that at the Week in Reason Con.
Oh, that's cool.
That one, I already have the Darwin fish, so I got this one. They didn't have the science one, but they did have this one, Evolve.
Oh, I love that Evolve one.
Yeah,
I love that. Discovering evolution has just been the most amazing thing for me, because I really love science. I'm not good at it, but I'm very interested in it. And in the church, they present evolution as the way they present it. It makes no sense at all. Of course, it's ridiculous. An animal can't choose how they evolve. They can't do that. So they present it completely wrong. And when I allowed myself to look outside of that, and I discovered how bacteria works and how the earth did evolve and atmosphere and all this stuff. And it was actually my son, my youngest son, who said, Mum, you can't have a vestigial tail if you haven't evolved, because it has to be somewhere in your DNA. And I just went, okay, that makes so much sense, so much more sense. And how much I've learned since then. It's like the world is full of possibilities now. It's so much better. I was so scared in the beginning because my whole everything was planned out for me, and then all of a sudden it's all gone. But luckily that phase didn't last very long, and I actually prefer not knowing some things, because it just I'm a person with a very creative imagination. And I love thinking about stupid shit. So it has made me very happy to not be within the constructs of, the religious mind of it's this, it's that, and there's nothing else.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, we all know that evolution happens on the daily. Like, we can actually observe evolution every single day of the year if we want to. Right?
See, I love thinking about, if the human race survives. If the human race survives, I love thinking about what humans will look like in 50,000 years or however, I don't know, whatever. Like, are we all going to be completely hairless? Are we going to grow gills again? Who knows? It's all good fun.
Oh, yeah. I mean, humans are evolving as we speak, of course. They're little slight mutations that happen, every time people have kids, there's a slight mutation. So,
yeah.
Right? So,
yep. That's right.
And according to tons of mice, I have a Lego vestigial tail. Yes, I do. It's over there. Mind you, I'm a Lego collector, as you could probably see all the boxes of Lego right there. One of the things that we did over the Week in Reason Con was we did a little trivia game, and of course, on my team, I had my friend Lilith, also had Aaron Raw, and I had Seth Andrews on my team. So it was the 4 of us. And we kicked ass, basically. And we all won these crazy little bone pens. They had mine, I got the spine. So there's your little vestigial tail right there. So there you go.
That is cool.
That's your sacrum.
Is that what that is?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Right, that flat thing above your tailbone.
It's my ass bone, isn't it? No.
That's the part you land on.
That's why it hurts so much.
Yeah.
Because it's aimed inward and it like pokes in the never mind. I don't know where I'm going with this. but it's a fun little pen, and we all got to choose them and stuff like that. So we won the trivia thing. It was all about there were biblical stuff and of course evolution type questions and
smarty peas.
Yeah, and I didn't answer many of them. I knew some, of course.
That's the main thing.
I was too busy fucking around with Lauren. We were talking some funny shit, but of course, we both had to throw in our 2 cents here and there. But and we had our caricatures drawn the first night that we were there too. So
that's fun.
Yeah, there was one of the gals who was actually one of the speakers is also a caricaturist, so they did one of me right there.
Oh, that's fantastic!
And they even put the Smeg head T-shirt that I was wearing. Perfect. So, which is really cool.
Love it.
Way outside.
And of course, I had to buy some prints from the. Of course, I could be doing this in the after party, but I'm going to show you now, anyways. Some prints from the Royal Tyrrell Museum, like the T-Rex skull right there.
Cool. Oh, that's so cool.
The what do you call it? The Ornithomimus fossil, the way to find it. And I learned something from Aaron actually this weekend. The reason that they always seem to die like this is because that's what happens when the muscles harden when they die, and they get stiff, and it automatically makes them do that when they die. So
that is
I would say it looks like that's how Kira is when you try to get her out of the crib. They kind of scritch and they just kind of
go. They almost bend in half backwards, don't they?
They do that little scrunch.
I love that, and the little butt pokes up in the air when they do it. Oh, it's so cute.
And then they say,
I hate kids.
Groaning in your ear, all sad because they're awake.
I did not have a minor Lego lunch. I just ran out of room to stack them, Dave. So I started angling them in so that it wouldn't fall over. It's like an anti-avalanche situation.
Now, Neil, due to OSHA, you're gonna have to cross stack that pallet. Okay, you're gonna have to do a couple of rows that way, then you have to go the other way, or else it won't
apply that critical thinking.
All the engineering. What if you made a Lego shelf?
I have a bunch of the ones you can put on the wall, and I can display some of the smaller models, which I'm eventually going to do. But I think the plan is, although it's way on the back burner, we might get a little bit bigger of a place so we have an extra room where Leanne can put some of her Coca-Cola collection display up there, and I can display some of my Lego collection, and I'll turn it into my studio as well. So we'll actually have a regular studio, so I'm not sitting on the side of my bed with a fucking fold-out tray and my laptop on it, so... Which is literally what goes on here. And I have my microphone. I relocated it again to the little side table, and it works much better now. Because every time I got out of bed, it was hanging in front of my computer, and I don't have a lot of room between me and the shit in front here. So, and I'd hit that microphone every fucking time and just about knock over my table. So I was like, fuck, I need to do something. So I moved it.
Get your life together, Neil.
Yes, Ollie says, and it's quite. Shut up! it's quite. If there's ever an earthquake in BC, search for Neil under his pile of Legos. Yeah.
Isn't there like a little tool?
There is. I got a bunch of
Lego pieces. We'll just run in there with a bunch of those, just trying to unstick them out of the rubble.
I'll be there going, "Don't take apart my Millennium Falcon, you bastards."
Just slide it over.
Well, Emmy, is there anything else you want to add on top of that? Like maybe something you might have left out, or do you have a question, Mikey?
Well, if you could go back in time and talk to previous believer what would you tell believer Emmy?
I would say the short version is get the fuck out of there. The long version, run, exactly. The long version is don't push those doubts down. Address them. Your brain is telling you that something is not adding up. Trust your brain. Trust your instinct. And I recently had a conversation. She has, I believe, since shunned me. My lifelong friend since I was a very little girl. Like I said, I don't blame her at all. Now I can't even remember what I was going to say. Jesus, this brain of mine. Laurie, what was the question?
If you could go back in time and talk to your younger self.
Yeah, she kind of said, you know, when you got doubts, you just got to push them down. You just got to push them down. And I didn't say too much because I didn't want to scare her off. But I thought, no, you got to face those doubts. And I've come to it. It has taken me a long time to kind of come to this conclusion, because the points that meant so much to me with my doubts just meant nothing to anyone else that I've spoken to. Like CSA within the church was a huge deal for me because I'm a survivor. And, these kind of points just absolutely fell on deaf ears. And I think, why, or Noah's flood and, all the stupid stuff that we believed, these things really affected me when I found it, when I looked into them. Why doesn't it affect them? And I kind of think that you just have to have a certain frame of mind. You have to hear the right thing at the right time, and you have to be open to it. So if they're not even open to it, there's nothing that you can say. There is literally nothing that you can say to make them wake up. Everybody has to wake up in their own time. So unfortunately, it was much later in life for me, but fortunately, I'm still young enough to enjoy the rest of my life. I'm in my 40s, and the biggest bonus is my kids don't have to be in it. My kids can live their life however they want, and I am so happy for them that they can. That is the best part of it for me, really.
Yeah. Yeah. You didn't put them through the crap that you had to go through yourself.
Well, they went through it for the first part of their lives, and I did apologize to them for that. And I figured it out. And, they're just such great. Yeah. But they're such great kids. They just said, we know that you thought you were doing the right thing, Mum. Don't beat yourself up. Like,
that's amazing.
They're really great kids. So I am definitely very lucky in terms of, leaving the cult and still having, people that I love in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Very fortunate.
Mikey's getting a blowjob.
Oh, Mikey.
It's raining and the fucking ants think that the high ground is my fucking table. This is the stand. This is the stand humanity takes against the ants. So I got some can of air. I'm like, down, you fools.
He was ready for them. They weren't expecting that.
Mikey, modern day Lanigan.
It's been raining for like 4 days straight, and they're just crawling out of everywhere because the ground is just completely saturated.
Oh, wow.
That's find higher ground, so go find a tree, assholes. Fuck off my desk.
Well, it's currently about 32 degrees here right now, which in American Freedom Units is like almost 90 degrees. So we got a little bit of a heat wave going on. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's pretty warm here. Of course, I've got a nice little cross breeze going through because my roommate's got the fan going and I got the windows open. So I got a little nice cross breeze going through that's keeping me from spontaneously combusting. So, thanks for that.
You're sitting on a big old ice glacier anyway. So
no, this isn't Greenland, dude.
You're in Canada. You're probably a bunch of ice floes going down the street.
It's not like you cross the border and there's snow, dude. It doesn't work that way.
I literally saw that on Bugs Bunny. You're lying.
I read it on the internet. That's how I know it's real.
That's right. That's right.
You can't put on anything on the internet that's not true.
Tons of Mice says
that's right.
32 degrees Celsius is 700 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh, well, look, here where I live, summertime, it is many days of 45 to 50 degrees.
Yeah.
It gets really, really hot. Winter here is not too bad. We're heading into winter now. I don't like the cold because I have arthritis and all this other bullshit. So
what do you mean by what do you mean by cold?
Cold. Well, what's where I live,
for you?
We don't get snow where I live. We get frosts, but I don't think I would survive in the snow. Cold for me is like 10 degrees. I don't know what that is Fahrenheit, but Celsius.
10 degrees. It's about 30, give or take. So it's pretty
50.
cold.
50.
What? 50?
50 is cold. I can't. Australians, you and Californians, I don't want to hear anything else from you guys about weather ever again. Ever. Yeah. I'm in Chicago. It got negative 50 degrees here.
I would die.
Oh wait, let me do it in.
All right.
Negative. Oh, it doesn't let you do negatives in here. There you go. Oh, it was minus 45 Celsius.
No, thank you.
For no reason. We didn't even do anything.
Well,
Yeah, that's
it's all
right.
your
32
atheism. God's angry at you.
Yeah.
32 Fahrenheit is 0 Celsius. So there you go. So that's how you can do the math when you do that.
If you have the calculator app
That's
on
right.
your laptop, there's the 3 lines. If you click that, it'll do temperature, volume, currency. Doesn't
Nice.
just do that.
Cool. Well, I want to thank you, Emmy, for jumping in here with Mike and me and sharing your story. It was great. And I know it was so short notice because I literally asked you yesterday if you wanted to jump in. And of course, we needed to have it be a Saturday so that it would work for the both of us, right? So
Yeah. No, I'm really happy that Michael, I can't remember his last name,
Earhart.
kind of introduced us. And yeah, this has been really good. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. And I'm glad you came to share it. And I'll have you know, I get emails almost on the regular these days where people are thanking me for what Mikey and I do here and having guests like you on the show to share their stories because it does help. It helps people in ways I never even knew. So
it absolutely does, because when you first leave, like I said, it is a very lonely place. And to know that there's other people out there who have been through it. And I have found the XJW community to be just amazing, absolutely amazing, accepting, helpful. If you're having a bad day, they'll all jump in and help you cheer up. Like, it's the community has been truly incredible. And I've been grateful to everybody that makes content to help people in their waking up process.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that we could be here to do that for some people.
Yeah.
I think it's important to do that. And as I've done since the word go, and I'll be making a little quick video for the upcoming another fundraiser for Recovering from Religion, which is some good friends of mine's organization where they help people that deal with religious trauma. And they also do the Clergy Project and secular therapy as well, and have links to all of those in every single video that I've done since day one.
Yeah, that's
because
brilliant.
I realize the importance of these organizations and what they how they can help people. So
yeah,
I'm going to make a little 2-minute long video or something based on that. It's probably not going to be 2 minutes long because I just blurt what I want to say out and that's it. We're done. And I'll be joining that. It'll be through Jimmy Snow, through his channel, I think, on the line at some point. So I'm not sure if he'll be doing it through his channel or a different channel. I don't know the full details yet. He just said, make me a video. I was like, okay, Dad, kind of thing, right? So
nice.
Not that Jimmy Snow's my dad, but, I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll raise some money for the Recovering from Religion Foundation because I want to keep them going because they are an irreplaceable resource for people that need it. So
yeah.
Anyways, thanks, Emma, for jumping in with us and sharing your story. Also, thanks to our wonderful chat out there over on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube here. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. We are going to do an after party. We're going to take a little bit of a break between the two, not as long as usual because Emma has to go and do some Mother's Day stuff, and I fully understand that.
Yeah.
Because it is Mother's Day in Australia. They're in the future, guys. So
Crazy.
I know it's weird. It's still Saturday here, but we're talking to you, and it's Sunday there. Which is
when the apocalypse happens in Australia, I'll have like 20 hours to prepare.
Yes,
exactly. Find a cave to run and hide.
Let the debauchery begin.
What's in season clothing wise for apocalypses? Anyways, we are going to do that. So also thank you to our wonderful patrons and our now members. We have members. You can want to be a member of the show. You can click the little join button below. And I think there's 3 tiers and they're relatively cheap. So, but every penny helps. And all the proceeds from the show for the next little while, at least for the foreseeable future, are going to be going to this fella right here, Mr. Mikey, because he's a new dad and kids aren't cheap. They're expensive. So
maybe a Patreon exclusive video with me and little one.
Yeah, we could do something like that. Yeah.
Ooh.
If you'd like to become
Her Highness,
click that too.
Her Royal Highness.
All right. Until then, guys, I think we've done all the thank yous and stuff.
Yeah.
Just a quick reminder, if you want to see the video of me and Aaron in the Dinosaur Museum at the Royal Tyrrell in Drumheller, Alberta, it is listed under the specials, so you can check that out. It was a lot of fun to do, and we had a great time. So the first year is $1,200. No, I wouldn't do that to people, man. I think it's like $1 or something.
I think it was $1.49. I checked it out before. Like it's
there you go. It's like $1.49, $2.49. Yeah, and then I think all of them are $5 or less.
Yeah,
basically, there's 3 tiers. Anyways, every little bit helps, guys. And until then, guys, like I always say at the end of the after party. No, we're going to be in the after party. Oh yeah, that's right. If you want to be involved, let us know. We'll give you a link. Until then, guys, like I always say at the end of the interviews, like the late great Christopher Hitchens once said, it's called faith because it's not knowledge. And
nice
we will see you guys next time. And
bye.
Stick around, Emma, for a couple minutes.
Okay.
All right.